In August 2016, in the Siberian tundra, an outbreak of anthrax was released from a thawing layer of permafrost, killing a 12-year-old boy and hospitalizing dozens of people. Scientists have found microbes over 400,000 years old in this frozen stratum, which are believed to be the origin of many viruses like smallpox and bubonic plague. But this is just one of many problems arising due to glaciers melting, which since the 1900s have been melting concerningly fast.
But first, what are glaciers? Glaciers are large bodies of ice that move slowly over land. They are formed through many centuries by the repetition of snow piling up and melting. As new snow falls, the snow becomes denser and the bottom layer will later be compressed into glacial ice. But why are they melting so fast? Well, the problem is us. Humans create many greenhouse gases through transportation, manufacturing, farming, and more, which build up in the atmosphere. Due to the thicker atmosphere, heat is most likely to be trapped on the Earth, creating an overall higher temperature, which will melt many glaciers. And although greenhouse gases can be released naturally, like through volcanic eruptions, we create many times more greenhouse gases than that.
Glaciers are very important to us, so the loss of glaciers will create many global and local issues. One large issue is the contribution to climate change. When the glaciers melt, they will slow down ocean currents, messing up the circulation, causing more extreme weather. Not only that, but melting glaciers will increase sea levels, increasing storm intensities. That makes coastal communities prone to flooding, which will not only displace people's homes, but also affect agriculture as it will contaminate soil and groundwater with salt. Along with the displacement of people comes the displacement of animals. Glaciers are the habitats of many species like walrus, polar bears, sea lions, and more, but they're all slowly losing their homes due to the loss of glaciers. When glaciers melt, it also will change water temperatures, affecting the life of multiple aquatic species, for example, when and where fish spawn. The loss of habitat and the change in animal behaviors will lead to many species becoming threatened and endangered. But how's it affecting Canada? Due to the increase in climate change, some places in Canada are experiencing severe weather like extra hot days or extreme thunderstorms. This will increase the demand and cost of air conditioning and the need for medical attention and building repairs. Also, this would affect the ability to play certain sports in Canada like figure skating, hockey, snowboarding, and more because a lot of snow and ice have disappeared from many places in Canada. Another issue that is approaching is water insecurity. That's because glaciers act as reservoirs of water that when melted would flow downstream to make it accessible for humans. But due to the rapid decline of glaciers, soon there won't be enough to provide us with fresh water.
Melting glaciers also have a great effect on indigenous communities, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities. One great issue is the loss of their land. That loss of land will affect their fishing, hunting, trapping, teaching, which will affect their ability to connect spiritually with their land. An example is that when glaciers melt, polar bears will be forced to move onto land that is home to indigenous communities. But what are the indigenous doing to solve this problem? Indigenous communities have already developed many sustainable practices to combat climate change. They make sure not to waste any resources by using them to the fullest potential. An example is that when they hunt an animal, they use all their meat, fur, skin, bones, etc., but without wasting a single part. They also make sure to take care of their environment. They don't overhunt, pollute, or disturb the animals around them. This is something they've been doing for so long. It's important to learn some of their sustainable practices. The only possible way to stop glaciers melting is to stop the main cause and why it's depleting in the first place, which is global warming. Scientists are planning to use an underwater current which acts as a plug that prevents giant ice sheets behind them from slipping into the warm seawater and melting. We can also use more renewable sources of energy instead of non-renewable sources, which is much more cleaner for the earth. Another thing we can do is to focus on converting cars into electrical cars. We can also encourage public transit or make it more accessible, since 21% of carbon dioxide emissions come from transportation alone.
But what can you do to solve the problem? You can develop sustainable practices such as walking, biking, or carpooling to places instead of driving. You can also invest in a more energy-efficient home by looking for suppliers that use renewable energy sources or even just turning off lights when not needed. But the truth is, you can't stop the glaciers from melting alone, which is why we encourage you to spread this information with others, because to preserve the biodiversity on Earth and reduce global warming, it's important for everyone to develop sustainable practices.